Can I just dispel a myth while we are here?
Okay.
I did not leave the legal dish because I found my husband. Like I'm accused of all the time.
Oh, hectic.
So I always joke that the brain skipped me and they went to my brother and sister who were A students in school. I was not an A student.
Okay.
Like, as a normal C student, every now and then I'd crack a B, I'd crack an A, but I never felt less than at home. But I joke that maybe it's because I was the first one and then my parents then got used to A's through my younger siblings.
You're a lawyer, you're a partner, you're an influencer, you're a wife. You're a mom, you're serving in the church, you're a daughter, you are a sister. How are we balancing these things?
Look, I'm just a girl. And what I've always said is, hello, hello, hello. Or should I say hello, December? My name is Kundi Ramashia Dube, and welcome back to The Legal Dish. Gosh, guys, I can't believe it's been 5 years since we dropped an episode. I'm sorry for my silence, but I'm so excited about what season 2 is going to bring. It's going to be bigger, better than ever. I'm so excited for the guests that we're going to have on. If you're new here, The Legal Dish is basically my answer to the many questions that I get around how to become a lawyer. What does one need to do to become an advocate, for example? What subjects should I take? What modules should I take in university? Do I need to do articles to be a legal advisor? Or do I need to be a judge? And so on and so on and so on. So I get a lot of these questions on social media and wherever I go. And because I'm just a girl and there's only 24 hours in a day, I can't engage at the level that I would want to with all these questions. So I thought, why not interview a couple of colleagues and friends in the legal space, let them share their journeys, and hopefully through that, a lot of your questions will be answered. So now that we are in season 2, as I said, I'll be interviewing different people. But for episode 1, we are switching things around a little bit. I've read your comments and your requests, and quite a few of you have asked for me to tell my story. I assumed that you guys know my story. I have a former guest of The Legal Dish who will be interviewing me for episode 1. I hope you guys enjoy it. And over to you.
Awesome stuff, man. It's so interesting being the interviewer and interviewing the interviewer. The last time I was here, I walked away with a wife and 2 kids.
Let's see the ring.
Here we go. I'm really looking forward to season 2 of The Legal Dish, and letting people hear your story as well.
Yeah, what a full circle moment, eh? When we were here, we were both young and single 5 years ago. And that's where the Dube part of my surname now comes from.
I think we'll just try to blush a bit less in this episode.
No, we will.
All right, so I think let's maybe just kick it off. Tell us about Kundi, where you're from, what was your upbringing like, do you have siblings, etc.?
Okay. So I am a Joburg girl through and through. Born and bred in Joburg.
So like for you, when you say I'm going home, I'm going to Joburg.
Yeah,
There's
going
no,
to
like, the Makayas.
No.
Okay.
Going to Kyalami, bro. I come from a very good, warm home. 2 parents always were present, still present now. I am a firstborn. Firstborns, I know the struggle.
Can't relate.
Yeah. So we are basically deputy parents. I grew up with that sense of responsibility. I have 2 siblings. We're all 7 years apart.
Oh.
So my brother, is 7 years younger than me, and then my sister 7 years younger than him.
Okay.
And that's my home, that's my background. Come from a Christian home, grew up in the church, and we're a very close-knit family.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So we are 5 years apart, me and my siblings.
Yeah.
So how do you think your upbringing, did that play a role just in where you are today and the decisions that you've made leading up to the professional that you are now?
I think it has to. I grew up in a home where, for example, my dad is a lawyer. He's an advocate. So I grew up hearing about the law throughout my childhood. And my mom, on the other hand, is more in psychology. She's a counselor. She just got her honors in counseling. So both academics. So I grew up in a home where education is important. But also just seeing two Black parents or people coming from less than ideal circumstances and working hard and creating a name for themselves and creating a good, stable home for their kids. So yeah, that definitely did influence me and also inspired me. I think I'm quite inspired by my parents and what they've achieved. Yeah.
Is there not a lot of pressure though? You are the firstborn child. Your dad is a lawyer. Your mom is still studying even till this day.
Yeah.
Doesn't that create a lot of pressure on you, to keep studying, but also when you are studying, because they will know what's happening. So maybe just, tell us a bit about that.
It's such an interesting question because, yes, on the one hand, it does. I have big shoes to fill, so to speak. And also as the firstborn, it's like, the younger ones must look at what you've achieved and whatever. So yes, in that sense, but also my parents are so wise in the way that they've raised us. So we know that we should aspire to do well and all of that, but we've never been compared to them or each other.
That's good.
So I always joke that the brain skipped me and they went to my brother and sister who were A students in school. I was not an A student.
Okay.
As a normal C student, every now and then I'd crack a B, I'd crack an A, but I never felt less than at home. But I joke that maybe it's because I was the first one and then my parents then got used to A's through my younger siblings. But I think my point is that we were always celebrated for our strengths. So I think, yes, there is a certain pressure, but I appreciate how my parents kind of,
You don't feel the pressure.
Yes, of trying to be like them or my siblings. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
And sorry, just to add there, So for example, I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
My brother is a doctor turned lecturer. And my sister's a dancer.
Yeah.
And, we all doing well in our respective fields. And I think that's what we were brought up to do. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. Because I think, when your parents have achieved so much, there can be these expectations. But speaking of expectations and, your parents being in particular professions, your dad is a lawyer and you've become a lawyer.
Begrudgingly so.
Just talk to us about that. Did your dad play a role in you becoming a lawyer? Were you visiting him in the office or at chambers growing up? Were you going along with him to court? How did it come about that you become a lawyer?
Lol, as for going with him to court.
I mean, take a girl child to work.
Oh, goodness. So my dad, he's so passionate about the law. So when I grew up, we'd always hear about the latest case law and he'd make us watch movies that had like a legal tone to it.
Okay.
Yes. There's one actually, I think a South African movie called The Reasonable Man or Beyond Reasonable Doubt, which he made me and my cousin, who subsequently also became a lawyer, watch. So there was all of that influence. As a child, I was quite a daddy's girl. So I remember one Saturday I went with him. He was lecturing at UNISA, law students. And I sat in the class and I still remember to this day, he was teaching on preponderance of probability, which is actually one of the tests that's used in civil procedure.
Yeah.
So, and I must have been 5 then, but I had zero interest. I was just there with my dad and just loving seeing what he's doing. So a child being a child, my dad always said, you should be a lawyer, you argue and all of this. And I was like, I will do anything but law because that's what my dad wants me to do. But also I'm a creative at heart. So as a kid, I used to always like design clothes. I thought I'd be a fashion designer at some stage. I still enjoy designing clothes. And so eventually I settled on advertising. I thought I'm going to go into advertising. But when I did my research, I saw that you can't get an advertising degree per se. And I really wanted to go to university. So I went with marketing. So that's what I went to study.
That's what you applied for.
Yes, and what I got accepted for and what I started in first year. So I was a BCom marketing student.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I somehow stumbled into a law class, accompanied a friend, and it was just like literally get in, get out. But it was the first time in my first couple of months at Varsity or Uni Brew, as they call it these days, where I sat and I was like, this is so interesting. They were teaching, it was a law of persons class, and they were teaching on domicilium.
Yeah.
And I just felt like this is so tangible. This is something that I can walk out tomorrow and use. Like, oh, that's what that means in documents, that part that says domicilium. And tail between my legs, that weekend, I went home and I said, Dad, you may have been right.
Sure.
And I may want to study law. And that's how we are here now.
So you changed in first year?
Yes, yeah. So luckily, because I was doing a BCom marketing and I expressed this interest in law, I could make a relatively easy switch into a BCom law degree.
Okay.
Still keep the commercial subjects, have a few legal subjects, see how I feel. Do I still enjoy it? And if so, then graduate into an LLB degree, which is what I ended up doing.
Oh, wow. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know who else argues quite a lot?
Who?
We'll leave that one. Let's leave the business of the home at home. Okay, so you did a BCom law.
Yeah.
And at the end of your BCom law, you then do an LLB.
Yes.
Okay, what makes you decide to drop the commercial subjects and just pursue law?
I think it goes back to the transition that I took. So the BCom law gave me an opportunity to still explore the economic subjects, accounting, which I hated, flames, and what else was there?
Business management.
Yes. So I enjoyed those, but the more legal subjects I did, the more I enjoyed it. And so I was sure that, okay, this is the route that I'm taking.
Yeah.
So I want to solidify it and get an LLB degree with the hope of someday practicing in some way, shape or form. Yeah.
And maybe just for people who are watching, what is the importance of an LLB degree compared to a BCom law degree?
I think it really depends on what you'd like to do. So if you see yourself becoming an attorney, if you see yourself becoming an advocate, even if you see yourself becoming a legal advisor in certain instances, a lot of these companies want someone who has practice to some degree so that you're able to give advice which is legally sound.
Yeah.
So a person who would do a BCom law and leave it there is potentially someone who wants to go into commerce but have some legal foundation to what they're doing. So I think... Yeah. Do you have any insights on that?
Sorry, who's interviewing you here?
I mean, share knowledge.
No, and I think you've made good points. But and I think a BCom law degree on its own is so bare. It's just really advisable to do an LLB. I would advise people, even if you want to go into a legal advisory space, do your LLB because the chances are your boss has an LLB. So we've done our BCom law and we do our LLB. What is Varsity for Kundi like? What is your Varsity experience? What kind of a student are you in Varsity?
Okay, so my daughter always asks me if you could go back to an age, what was your favorite age? What would you go back to? And I always say university. So between 19 and however old I was when I finished maths, not my friend. And the reason for that is you literally have one job. Like you must just pass, you know. So it was fun. It was fun in the sense that you're away from home, you're learning independence. I was at boarding school before, so it wasn't my first time away from home. But you away from home as a semi-adult, and you attending classes. It's not like school from 7:30 until, you know, whatever
time. There's a lot of free time.
Yes, there's a lot of free time. You are exposed to a whole different new variety of people. By the way, when I started Varsity, it was Rand Afrikaans Universiteit.
Okay.
Just revealing my
age.
age, which was Rao, and now it's UJ. So I really had a lot of fun. I met people that are still my close friends now. Academic wise, I was the same student that I was in school. So I've always been conscientious. I do my best. But I think that it was towards the end of Varsity where I actually started to wake up and realize, oh, wait, these firms actually look at your marks. I just thought, you must just pass, get your degree then, you know?
Yeah.
So it's only towards the end, my last 2 years, where I was like, oh, hectic. Okay, let me work a little bit harder. Yeah.
And those distinctions started coming.
Yes, they did. They did. If you look at my academic record, it's the last 2 years, and even in difficult subjects like tax and all of that, which I didn't enjoy, but I put in a lot of effort. It also helped that all my friends were gone by then, because I did 2 degrees. So there was a lot of time to actually focus. Yeah.
And how important was you working hard in those last 2 years? How did that contribute to you getting articles? And you'll obviously tell us now where you got articles, you know, what options you had. But how important were those marks in the last 2 years?
Sure. I can't overstate the importance of your marks in getting articles and just progressing in your legal degree. And I think you can relate as well. The firms look at your marks, amongst other factors. But I think you said in your interview 5 years ago that your marks get you through the door.
Yeah.
It's incredibly important. Yeah.
Okay. If you could advise Varsity Kundi now, what would you say to her?
Sure. I think it would go back to just being more cognizant from the very beginning of how important it is to get a good academic record. And having said that, I mean, I did do my best. I did work hard, but I think I could have been a little bit more focused in the first couple of years. But on the other end, where I would commend Varsity Kundi is that I've always been a very well-rounded person. So I was very involved. I was very plugged in. I was a leader at RAISE. I was involved in societies. I was a brand ambassador for certain brands. So I was also making money on the side. And I think, and that's how I sold myself in my interview for articles, is that, yes, I can figure out the law. So can many other people. But I also know how to deal with people. I know how to problem solve. And that's a piece of advice I would give to varsity students now.
That's very good. I think it's so important what you've just said now, because marks are very important. And if you're going, or if you're looking to get into a big firm, that's the first thing they look at. But then they also look at, okay, who are you beyond your marks? What are the things that you've done in varsity? What sets you apart? Do you have any leadership abilities? You know, do you have any experience working? And I think having a good CV is something that becomes very important as well. And it's key to getting good articles, because we look for more than just the marks.
Speaking like a partner.
I mean, what can I say? All right, so talk to us about.
Did I make you blush?
No, I'm just but can you be interviewed?
Sorry.
Be a good interviewee.
All right, I'm behaving now.
Then, okay, when do you apply for articles? Maybe let's start there. When did you start applying for articles? and where did you get articles, and were the things that you did, apart from what you've already told us now, that helped you to get articles, maybe VAC work or whatever the case may be?
So, and again, revealing my age, this was 15 years ago. Sure. Yeah, somewhere there. So I started applying for articles in my second last year of Varsity. And what I actually did, and again, I'm a very proactive person. I sat and I thought, okay, I am one of thousands that are going to be emailing my CV and my academic record. I'm not an A student, so that's not going to stand out for me. So what can I do to stand out? So what I did was I had just gotten my license, very nervous driver, asked my mom to borrow her car, drove to Sandton, parked at one of the firms because I didn't even know how to drive well enough to like get between all the firms. Parked at one, put on my cute little one pair of heels that I owned, my most formal outfit, and I walked to each of the firms that I wanted to work at. I went to reception, I said hi, and I knew I'm taking a chance because some of them did dismiss me and say, you can't just pitch up here. But I said, hi, I'm here with my CV. I'd like to apply for articles. Is it possible for me to meet with the HR manager?
Wow.
Some of the firms, they were like, okay, weirdo, but all right.
You heard of online applications?
Yes. And some called, they're like, okay, we'll call them and see if they'll come down. Some came to see me.
Wow.
And the one that we had a good meeting with was at Eversheds. It was then Eversheds or Routledge Modise. At the time, yes. We had a sit down. She looked through my CV. We had a chat and she said, okay, look, let's get you in on VAC work, see how you do there, and then we'll see about an interview for articles. And that's how it unfolded. I got interviewed to VAC work, which was a very insightful 2 weeks. And again, if you're able to, get into a VAC work program or internship or anything that gives you insight into where you think you want to go, I found that very helpful. I had also had VAC work at ENS in Cape Town in one of my earlier years. And that's how I got plugged into the firm, and I was invited for an interview and I got the position. I was also offered another position at one of the other big firms, but I really loved this firm because back then there was a show on SABC3 called Rights and Recourse, and they would often have people from Routledge Modise there. So I always knew that I wanted to work there. So it was very exciting when I got the offer.
Okay. Yeah. And how long were your articles?
So articles are generally 2 years. I did mine for a year, and then I went to practical legal training full-time for the other year.
Okay.
And the reason for that is I think I realized quite early on. So I must premise it with saying that I'm so grateful that I got my start at a big international commercial law firm. Because the foundation was so good. I'll leave it there. But I saw that it's not necessarily where I see myself in the long run.
Okay.
And so then I went to practical legal training to kind of figure out what my next steps would be.
Okay. When you say you thought it's not where you want to be in the long run, maybe just touch on that a bit, because I think it's quite an important point. Because big law firms are not for everyone, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with actually, while you're in there and, you find that, I don't think this is for me, I'm going to try something else, so just talk to us a little bit about that, because I think that was quite brave of you. I'm certainly not leaving my job at a nice
big law
at a nice big law firm, to go and figure things out.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And what informed my decision? I think one, it takes being in a certain environment and exposed to certain things to also figure out who you are.
Yeah.
And in that, I realized I'm not the kind of lawyer who wants to deal in big commercial transactions or tax law or employment law. I had no interest in those areas, but I enjoyed it in the sense of learning and being exposed to it. I also, when I looked at my seniors, and again, this doesn't apply to all big law, it was my experience. Some of the women that I saw were either really good directors and not great at home. Or vice versa.
Not great at home.
As in, I felt like they're not there for their kids and their families. They don't have time. But again,
they were always working. They were always in the office working late hours.
Very late hours. And it was their whole life. Or the ones that were decent moms and wives were kind of looked down on because they can only work until a certain time, etc. And again, that was back then. Things have changed quite a bit now. There's work from home and all of that.
Yeah.
But personally, for me, it's not something that I aspired to. That was the one element. The other element is I also realized, and this I realized from Varsity already, is that I loved family law.
Okay.
And areas of law where I feel like it's tangible. I can see the impact that I'm having in real time. And in big commercial law firms, there isn't much space for practice of family law. We did have a family law department and I was quite involved in it. But I saw that if I want to grow in that particular area, then this is probably not the place to be.
Okay. So then you leave and we do our practical legal training for a year. What does life look like for Kundi after that? After PLT, where do you work? Where do you go?
Okay, so and in that process, so during my time, doing my articles and at PLT, I also wrote my board exams.
Yeah.
There's 4 board exams, passed those, thank goodness, first time. And then my former boss, and again, this comes to, and I try to inculcate this to younger people that I speak to, etc., always leave a good mark.
Yeah.
So even though I knew that's not where I'm going to be forever, I still put my best foot forward. I still did my best, was putting up my hand, for any extra work or whatever the case is. So my boss there, he then moved on to a legal NGO called probono.org.
Okay.
Once he was there, I think we got in contact somehow and he said, come apply. There's a position for a supervising attorney after my admission. Come apply, see how you do. I think you'd be great here. And that's how I landed up at probono.org. So I basically ran a national program for legal advice officers around the country, capacitating them, giving training. We also did quite a bit of refugee law, family law, housing, disputes. Yeah, I learned a lot.
It sounds like quite a ride.
Yeah.
A very scary ride.
And interesting, exciting. Yeah.
Okay, and how long did you do that for?
So I was at probono.org, I think, for about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, so I'm one of those, like, I think I learn from like being in different environments, see what I like. So I think I reached the ceiling quite quickly.
Yeah. And then you started as a supervisor. So.
Yes, I did. I mean, I've always kind of been in leadership positions, strangely enough. And so from there, then there was an opportunity presented for a lecturing position, which was not something I'd ever thought of or considered. But I was like, why not? Let me try it out. Let me interview. Let me see how it goes. And I was offered that position. And that's how I got into lecturing first and second year students at a private tertiary institution.
Oh, wow. What were you lecturing in?
So for the first year students, I did law of persons and family.
Okay.
And law of persons, as you know, covers a whole range of topics like criminal law, private law, etc. Family, which was my fave, enjoyed that. And then for the second year students, I did entrepreneurial law, which is a little bit tougher for me because I have little interest in the subject matter, but it was such a great time of learning, and so fulfilling in the sense that, and I want to encourage people, like, sometimes do things afraid. When I was offered the position, I was quite young. I think could have been 27, 28. I could be mistaken. I had never lectured before, and I thought, what do I have, to pass on to students? And I was always scared, like, what if they ask me something and I don't have an answer to it?
Those interesting super achiever types.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, if it happened, yeah. And so I would over prepare, and which is not a bad thing. That's yeah.
Can never be. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's been fulfilling is I continue to bump into my former students to this day who will say, sure, you inspired me. You were a great lecturer. You broke concepts down quite easily, etc., etc. And that, it encouraged me that, you know what, when you do your best, it does come through. Yeah.
So here you are with your LLB. You've been a pro bono lawyer doing refugee law, criminal law, you mention it, and now you're going into lecturing. And then you move from lecturing. And what happens after that?
So I always say, like, practice keeps like knocking at my door, calling me back. I run away, it calls me back. Again, another situation where one of the lecturers or someone I lectured with at MGI went to join a medium-sized firm, and she said, look, I think you'd be great here. Please come and interview. We're looking for someone in the family law department. And yeah, I've always I was never sure about practice, but I thought, give it another try. You never know. Yeah. And so I went back to private practice for about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And there I did family law, some criminal law. Criminal law is so interesting, but so scary.
It is extremely scary. I cannot imagine doing criminal law.
Yeah. I have a lot of respect for people that do it every day, consulting with accused murderers and serial rapists, and it's wild. But I learned a lot. And I also did a little bit of IP law, intellectual property, and some property. So yeah, I was exposed to quite a few practice areas.
And that's the thing about small firms, right? You can't just have your little niche. You have to do a little bit of everything.
Yes.
And it's such a great way of learning, especially if you want to be more of a generalist. Okay, so how long did you stay in that role?
About 2 years.
About 2 years. And then what happens after that?
And then my dream job finally came around. So when I was in second year varsity, they in family law, there's a little paragraph in the textbook that talked about the Office of the Family Advocate.
Okay.
And it spoke about how, they take care of the best interests of children. But there was very little information. But from that day, I knew that I want to get into this office somehow. Yes. And what also attracted me to it is that you get to do family law all day, every day.
Okay.
But it's very difficult to crack to get into because there's very limited positions. People generally stay there long, and also the entry requirements are quite
strict, yeah.
Yes. So an advert came around and I applied, and I have never prepared for an interview the way that I did for that. I studied, I learned the Children's Act inside out. I went and I interviewed and I got the position, and that's how I became a family advocate.
Halala. Why was this your dream job? What was it about the role that really attracted you to it?
Yeah. Number one was that you got to specialize in family law. That's all you do, family law all day, every day. And that's all I wanted in all my roles. Like when I'd get a family law matter, I wished that was most of what I was doing. Yeah. So that was number one. Number two is you learn so much in that role. You become such a specialist in the Children's Act, children's rights, parental rights and responsibilities, divorce, what happens to kids in those instances. And there's also very exciting matters like international abduction of children, Hague Convention. How do you apply that? So yeah, I'm such a family law nerd that it was just...
You don't say.
Do you see the passion?
Like abduction of children. That doesn't sound exciting, but okay.
Very exciting. And sure, the stories that came across my desk.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So that's what attracted me to it.
Okay. What does a family advocate do? Like, what would a typical day look like?
A lot. So one of the more administrative things that we do is to endorse summonses and settlement agreements.
Okay.
So when parties are getting divorced, they need to make provision for what's going to happen to the children. Who are they going to live with? How often do they see the other parent? How do you split school holidays and all of that? So we would take a look at those clauses in every divorce matter that, is going to come before a judge or a magistrate. See if we are happy with those provisions. If we're happy, we endorse it. If not, then we raise a query and the people need to come explain. So a court will not grant a divorce without a family advocate's endorsement. So that just tells you how much work.
When there's kids involved.
When there's kids involved,
Okay.
yes. Good point. And then another big part of our job was conducting mediations. So parties who are either getting a divorce or separated, or people that have had a child and never were together but want to regulate their relationship in respect of the child, we assist them to draft a parenting plan or parental rights and responsibilities agreements. That's where, for example, maybe a parent has passed away and it's now the father of the child and the maternal grandmother that are trying to regulate how they look after the child. So in that case, we would do a parental rights and responsibilities agreement, mediate, draft it, and then it gets made an order of court. In instances where mediation fails, or it's just evident from the beginning that mediation is not going to get anywhere, we conduct investigations. And that was one of the biggest parts of our jobs. That's something that I did every single day.
Okay.
So that's when you sit with the parents or the parties and you get from them what is the issue. The one is saying this child must never see the mother again because she has a new boyfriend and I don't want my child to meet this guy. I'm making a silly example, but all different kinds of cases. And you get the facts, and then the family counselor who conducts the investigation with the family advocate would then interview the child.
Okay.
Together, the team of the family advocate and the family counselor writes a report. And if there's any collateral information that needs to be gathered, we would do that. Make legal representation. So your report must be legally sound, refer to case law, refer to legislation, evaluate the matter, and then make recommendations and submit that to the court. The courts rely very heavily on the family advocate's recommendations as to what should happen with the child. So a lot of investigations, a lot of report writing.
And a lot of stress.
A lot of stress, but it was so interesting. It was very interesting, but I've been in very, scary situations at times where people are so angry that the one stands up and they want to throw a bottle to the other, and I've been spilled with water in that altercation. So I've had to call security before. So it gets very emotional and intense, but the satisfaction I got from my work is knowing that I'm making a difference in helping that child to have the best chance of a good life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It sounds very fulfilling, I must say.
It is.
And then you leave your dream job. So then you leave your dream job and you go back to practice, but this time doing it
on my terms.
On your terms. Okay, I like that.
Clock it. What do the kids say?
Clock it, but you gotta clock it
this.
Gotta clock it fully. Yeah,
hectic.
Yeah. So you can clock it or you clock it.
Clock it.
So my goodness, what is that like?
Yeah.
Going into practice by yourself, having to build a practice from the ground up.
Sure, yeah. And like I say, practice keeps calling me back. But how does the song go? Try to leave.
Every time I try to leave.
So, that one. So
we shouldn't sing, by the way.
So, geez, thanks. Who needs enemies when you have a husband? I think I reached the ceiling. What I felt that I reached the ceiling quite quickly, and just in terms of growth with my career. So then I made the switch back to practice. I also needed a little bit more flexibility at the time. And yeah, starting a practice from the ground up, I joined a firm that had a single partner or director who I happened to know from before, who was your former colleague. And I just loved her values and, just the ethos from which she runs the firm. But I also just wanted to get a sense as to how family law practice would fit into the existing structure. So that's how I got into that. And, I think just by the grace of God, I can't attribute it to myself. I did do, your fair share of like putting it out there that, hey guys, I'm in private practice.
I'm here now.
Because also when I was in government, people want free help all the time. So now I'm like, I'm here, but now I'm charging. And I've never had a problem of clients.
Sure.
So
what a blessing.
It is. And that's why I say it's just by the grace of God. And I've had such interesting matters there as well. International guardianship, that was my first matter in private practice. Guardianship of a child, in another country. So I've never had that issue. I think the challenge that I did face in private practice is you've just got to sink or swim, hey?
Sure.
Like you learn on the job. I had a lot of rich knowledge from the family advocate, but as you know, in with the courts and all of that, procedure changes all the time. So I needed to brush up on that and catch up on, now there's case lines. How does case lines work? Those were the challenges that I faced, but it's been a wild, exciting ride.
Yeah. And I think just what comes to me as a potential challenge. I'm a lawyer, and I know that sometimes our fees are not acceptable, user friendly. How's that been for you, especially with the kind of matters that you might have? And how have you managed that?
Do you want the honest answer?
We're trying to teach people out here.
Frustrating. And I think many lawyers can relate, whether you're in big law or a small firm, is people don't seem to understand that our time is our currency. That's what we sell. We are selling our time.
Yeah.
And your charge out rate is going to be commensurate to your experience.
Yeah.
So if you want to go and pay 500 Rand or 1,000 Rand for a consult, I don't know where you're going to find that.
Don't call me.
Don't call me.
No, don't talk to me. Sorry. Don't talk to me.
Talk to my lawyer. So you're going to get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And sometimes clients have a tough time understanding that. But you also reach a point where you learn how to put that on the table from the outset, and a person can decide, do I see the value in this and I'm going to go with it or not? And I guess I think you become wiser in how you set that out. I don't charge nearly as much as someone like you would, but it is difficult for individual clients, and you do feel bad sometimes because sometimes someone's coming to you for a maintenance matter. That means that they need money. For their child, but they need to pay your fees because in order to get there,
there's a lot of your time.
Yeah, a lot of time and effort and drafting and appearances and all of that. So yeah.
Okay. Wow. What an amazing and interesting career and journey you've had. You've had so many different roles with your LLB, which is why I think they often say an LLB is a very good degree to have because it's allowed you so much flexibility.
Yeah.
But on the other side now, on the more fun side of things, you also have your influencer life.
Yes.
There's 126,000 followers.
Okay.
Yeah, I went and checked because, one day it's 100,000, next day it's like 100, like you just never know.
Let's calm down. Yeah.
Yeah, man, just talk to us about that. How does that fit in to
a lawyer?
Yeah.
I think I mentioned at the beginning that I've always been a creative at heart. I love expressing myself in creative ways.
Yeah.
how it all came about, the very beginning, was me expressing myself through food.
Okay.
And I hope my mom doesn't take this badly, but I didn't grow up in a home. You're already laughing. Like, love you, mom. She has other strengths. I didn't grow up in a home where we're like cooking and baking together and making dombolo. I became a self-taught cook later in life. And it's because I'd see like, or I'd be at a restaurant and I have something delicious. I'm like, I need to figure out how to make this. And so I'd make these cute little dishes, take a picture, post it on Instagram, just vibes. And people showed an interest, and that grew to a point where people said, please do a blog where we can, where you can explain how you did this, what the recipe is, etc. So that's kind of where it got birthed. And me just in cooking, like I don't just like make chicken stew, like I want to make something different and then plate it in a pretty way. And that unfolded into Kundi's Kitchen, which became a business on its own at some point. But also just creating content has always been just a natural thing for me. Like I like pretty things and, capturing it. And I think I've always been authentic in my journey. People that follow my social media pages will know that I've always just been transparent about the different phases I've been through and all of that. And I think people connect with that, which is why I find it quite difficult. Sorry, I'm diverting a bit, because I'll get, people asking, how can I be an influencer? How do I get followers? How can I get campaigns? And I can't answer that, because for me, it's been a very authentic, natural progression of me expressing the creative side, which I guess connects with people.
You didn't wake up and think, let me be an influencer.
No.
It just
I actually don't even like the term, but we'll go with
influencer.
it. No.
All right. So you're a lawyer, you're a partner, you're an influencer, you're a wife, you're a mom, you're serving in the church, you're a daughter, you are a sister. How are we balancing these things? Like, how do you make it make sense and work?
Yeah, I'm laughing because I'm getting asked by someone who sees me struggle every day. So I can't even fluff over it. Look, I'm just a girl. And what I've always said is, I don't think that proverbial balance exists.
Yeah.
I think there are seasons, and within those seasons, there are days where family trumps work, where we've had times where both kids are extremely sick for 2 weeks and we are juggling between who's staying at home with them, or the nanny has to go home because she has family responsibilities and we need to man the fort at home, and at those times, work is not necessarily taking the highest priority. But there are times where you are just pushing full throttle with work. There's times where my daughter is the one who says to me, Mommy, you can't carry on like this. You need to sleep. There were times where, and I had an urgent application and I didn't sleep for days, and I barely saw my family in that time. So I think there'll always be those seasons and days and times. But I think what is important is you must be guided by your values. And at the end of the day, I want to be a good mother. I want to be a good wife. I want to be a good child of God. You've mentioned serving in church. There needs to be time for that as well. And I think the general thread should hopefully be one that resembles balance. But there's trade-offs all the time. Yeah.
There's just no perfect balance.
There isn't, especially when you get home to a 2-year-old who wants to play.
Who wants to balance on your head.
Yes.
All right. No, awesome. I think maybe just almost as a parting shot.
Okay.
Give us a fun fact about Kundi. I know you hate these kinds of questions.
Yeah, it's fun.
Don't tell us fun. But
a fun fact. Okay, this is a recent fun fact that I like dropping because of the reaction I get. I turned 40 in a month.
Oh, hectic. Don't know why I'm saying hectic, because I know.
I love seeing people's reactions when I say that. That's a fun fact. I don't know if this is a fun fact, but I am grated by slow drivers.
Okay.
No.
It's not a fun fact at all.
Really?
No.
Okay, then what
It's a pet peeve.
It's a pet peeve. Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
A fun fact. Okay, go ahead.
You played yourself in an award-winning telenovela.
There we go, guys. This is what they mean by your better half. Yes, I played myself in the river. Interesting story. I was a second choice for that role.
A pregnant second choice even.
Yes. So they wanted him. He had played the role a couple of years earlier, and yeah, he wasn't available this time around. And did they ask, or did you say, there's someone at home that I can...
I think I acted as your brand manager.
Yeah. So then they were like, okay. And anyway, but it ended up being so much fun. Yeah, you were there. I was very nervous. But it was a really fun activity.
Yeah. No, definitely. That's a fun fact you can go with from now on.
Yeah, I'm a former The River guest.
Come on. All right. Awesome. So Legal Dish is back. Like,
boo, 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 boo.
What can people expect? What can we look forward to in season 2 of The Legal Dish?
Oh man, I'm so excited to be back here, to be sitting here. And yeah, can I just dispel a myth while we are here?
Okay.
I did not leave The Legal Dish because I found my husband. Like I'm accused of all the time.
Oh, hectic.
I did not. Yeah, someone even said, you don't care about us. You you found your husband and you left. No, there were really factors beyond my control. It was very sad for me to have to press the pause button. But now, avulegila masango.
Okay.
And yeah, just excited about what's to come. I think this season, I'd really like to broaden the range of guests.
Yeah.
So everything from attorneys in private practice, I'm hoping to get a judge on, prosecutors, just people in different spheres of the legal space, even the ones that are not obvious, people that were previously clerks to constitutional court judges. And it's because I've really been seeing your guys' comments and your requests. Thank you for engaging in the content. Please continue to do so. I would like to really, these series of interviews to be of assistance. So lots to come, very exciting. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Well, I think that's it from us then, from today's episode of The Legal Dish, episode 1 of season 2.
Yes.
Sitting with Miss Kundi Ramashia Dube on the hot seat today, but she'll be back where she belongs.
Can't wait. It's actually very nerve-wracking to be on the side.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you for interviewing me.
It's a pleasure. Now you know what it's like.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.